You may not be aware of it, but you are all being guided and helped by we, your brothers in space.
Welcome to the Cosmic Clock Listening Room. Imagine sitting quietly in a living room sometime in the 1960s or 70s, and a small group is gathered around a tape recorder. The lights are low and someone presses record, and the reels begin to spin. And suddenly, someone in the room begins to channel a non-human entity. The voices you're about to hear come from rare archival tapes, captured during a time when researchers were exploring the strange frontiers of consciousness, psychic phenomena, and possible contact with non-human intelligences. So dim the lights, settle in, and step into a new episode of the Cosmic Clock Listening Room. So on this week's Listening Room, we're going to be hearing excerpts from this tape, which is a reel-to-reel from 1961. And this reel belonged to Don Elkins, who of course wrote the Law of One books, known as the Raw Material books, that came out in the early 1980s, one of the most popular spiritual texts of the 20th century. People don't really know that Don actually led a group of channeling circles decades before the Law of One was ever written in the 1960s, in a living room at his house in Louisville, Kentucky, and I came across these tapes in a very strange way, which I will explain at a later date. But for now, let's throw on this reel.
Magat Paja, to Emmanuel, to be able to share with you I know that in the minds of many of you, there's great wonderment, shall we say, as to what will take place due to the conjunction of the planets. I'll say this to you, my friends, I'm not a prophet. Therefore, I do not attempt to prophesy. But watch the events of this year very closely, for this will be a very eventful year. Some of the events that will take place are going to have great effect upon the future of the two great powers upon your planet today, and also upon your entire civilization. But also the influence of this event will be much more far-reaching and will extend over many years to come. That is all I have to say concerning this. But I should like to with your permission, speak to you for a little while concerning some of the other things that you are discussing earlier in your gathering. My friends, remember that you live in a universe of energy. Even you yourself are pure energy. What you call electricity plays a great part in the function of your universe and your planet. And remember too that your planet is not only a great mass of substance, but it is in its own right an entity in itself. This, my friends, is something to consider. Perhaps this would be somewhat difficult to conceive. But nevertheless, this is true. And someday, as you come into a greater understanding of the functioning of your great universe, you will agree with me. But your planet is contained within an envelope that you call your atmosphere. And my friends, this is made up of many layers of various combinations of gases, and some layers contain pure gas of one type or another, such as hydrogen, There's a layer around your planet which consists of pure hydrogen. And these layers are many and varied, but each has a definite function to perform. The planet also consists of functions by frequencies of vibration. That is to say, these have effects upon the planet and its atmosphere. Now, let us stop here for a moment and go to something else. Thought. The spark of thought and its power. Now, my friends, there is much greater power in thought than is realized by any of it. For thought is energy upon a certain frequency. And this, my friends, also has, or rather could be broken down into various frequencies. Like the electrical current, I refer to that because perhaps it is more familiar to you. It has been proven by your own science that there are thousands and thousands of frequencies that of electrical current, or can be transmitted, shall we say, on many thousands of frequencies, and frequencies far beyond what your science have discovered. They have not reached the ultimate in these things by far. But thought can also be transmitted on many frequencies. And thus will determine the effect that it has upon the envelope of your earth. Now, my friends, again, these energies, when they are released, do not cease to exist. In a short time. They too go on to the envelope of your earth. And depending upon the frequency of vibration, or perhaps I should say the frequency of vibration will depend upon. Now, I must try to make this more clearly. You know, my friends, sometimes it is quite difficult for me to transfer my thoughts into your language, of which I am not too familiar with, I'm sorry to say. But if you will forgive this weakness, shall I say, in me? No, it is not a weakness. It is a lack of the self of ability that I have not quite overcome yet. But the effect that these frequencies will have in the envelope of your art will depend upon the frequency of the thought. Now, we'll say, what determines the frequency of this thought? There are several things there, too. The motive back of the thought will determine somewhat the frequency. And also the type of thought. For instance, thoughts of resentment, of hate, of fear, each has its frequency. And this frequency has its effect and will eventually seek out the same vibration or level of vibration in your envelope. And as this builds up in the earth's envelope and becomes greater and greater in quantity, that will have its effect upon the earth, because the earth's envelope has effect upon the earth and determines what takes place. Now, my friends, weather, earthquakes, or many, many things are affected, or your planet is affected by these things through the envelope of your earth. Oh, yes, of your earth. A great deal more than your science knows or realizes. Now then, you see, my friends, we're a planet of people loving in harmony, living for good of each other, eliminating hate, resentment, greed. Their minds working at all times in what you call positive thinking. You see, my friends, why these planets do not face conditions that planets who do not recognize the importance of these things. So you see, it is very important how we allow our minds to function. The act, my dear friends, is not nearly as important as the thought back of the act. For if it were not for the thought, the act would not occur. So that is why planet Earth faces what it faces today. In your religious books, your Bible, has spoken something about a day of judgment. And some of your religions make a great issue of this. They believe the dead shall come to life, and everyone shall be judged. You've been good, you go here. You've been bad, you go there. Well, my friends, there truly is coming a day of judgment. But it will not occur in this manner. For no great entity is going to sit upon a great throne and separate his sheep. But each man will receive justice according to his own thoughts. I shall bring upon himself his own judgment. My friends, many of you know, I should not say many of you, should say all of you, shall witness this judgment. For it does not matter whether you are in this dimension that you call physical, chemical, or whether you are in what you call the astral. Life. The judgment day will be far-reaching. And will include all earth people, regardless of the dimension which they happen to exist in at this time. For there is very little separation between the two dimensions. In fact, if all of you had developed within you your four senses, you would know this. For in reality, there is no separation. You have taking place a dimension within a dimension. But as you have been told before, those who have used their powers in the right way, who have attempted to live a life of justice, who have seen the needs of their fellow man and met them, who have faced up to their responsibilities, they have nothing to fear. For all shall be well with them. But they shall witness this judgment, and they shall understand. They shall know at that time that man is always dealt with justly through the laws of his Creator and not by his Creator. That it brings about his own own punishment, or whatsoever you should like to call it. And now, my friends, I think I have taken enough of your time. Perhaps one of the other teachers should like to speak to you through one of the other instruments here. Understand there are others here. So, my friends, it has been a very great pleasure to spend this time with you. I wish to extend to this household my gratitude for accepting me into your household. And perhaps again we shall meet. I sincerely hope so. I want to extend to each of you my very, very deepest love and blessings. And may each of you reach the heights that you are seeking in your understanding. And I encourage each of you to search diligently. Good night to you, my friends. It has been a very great pleasure to be with you.